This is a story about the first year of my relationship with the girl I love. I suppose it starts back in July 2017. She was dating my best friend at the time. They were in a relationship for a few weeks and it ended on bad terms. While they were dating, I had only seen her one time. I didn't really say much to her as I am a very shy and socially awkward person. I think I managed to get a few hellos out but nothing more than that. The next time I met her was on the 31st of October. To be honest, I don't really remember that night much since I was blackout drunk for the majority of it. By that time things seemed to be okay between her and my friend, and that's how I started talking to her more. In late November we were all talking in group chats. Online I am a lot less awkward and am able to talk to other people. So this was a great way for me to start talking to her. As I started to become more friendly with her, I started to realize that she's not how my best friend made her out to be at all. We started to hang out more, and the more time I spent with her, the closer I felt to her. There are quite a few people in our friends group. I couldn't quite explain why, but I felt like I had some sort of bond with her, like I could connect with her in a way that I couldn't with the other people. Usually I hate it when people hug me, but when she did it always felt warm and comforting. Where our relationship progressed was on New Year's Eve. I had one of my depressive episodes and ended up leaving all of the group chats I was in. At the time, I just felt really lonely, as if I'm destined to never be happy. She ended up private messaging me, asking what was wrong and why I was feeling like that. There's only a few people that know how much of a shit show my childhood was. I felt comfortable with talking about it with her, and she seemed to have the perfect response to everything. After a while I felt a little better about myself, and I will never forget some of the things that she said to me that night. When I was just 4 years old, I started school, along with other children I didn't know. It was scary on the first day, but it got better as the days went by. There was a boy in my class who I straight away loved. I was only 4 years old and I had found the one I wanted to be with forever. I had kept my crush on him a secret, as I didn't want him to find out. Day after day, week after week, month after month, and year after year, I had this one big crush on him. I loved him more and more as the time went by. I don't know why he was this attractive. Whenever I looked into his eyes I saw love. Then when I was about 10 years old, my friends started to fancy him. They told me about how much they loved him, but they didn't know I had a crush on him since I was 4. This crush was still a secret. Then at the end of year 6, the last year at primary school, it was time to decide what secondary school we wanted to attend. 4 schools had accepted me, and my crush was going to go to one of them. I begged and begged my mom to go to that school, and finally, I did. The first day of secondary school was also scary as the first day of primary. I didn't know anyone except for my crush, 2 of his mates, and only one of mine. I started to make friends quickly, and then me and my crush got put into 2 different classes. I couldn't believe this. I weren't in the same class as him. I guess it was a sign of moving on, because this relationship wasn't getting us anywhere. I began to see less of him, and more boys started to take his place. At first I thought I wasn't doing the right thing by trying to forget him, but I knew it was for the best. I then started going out with them other boys, and hardly ever spoke to the boy I had loved since I was 4. Now I am still in that situation, when I hardly see him, and I am fancying other boys. But whenever I walk past him, look at him, think of him, I remember the times when I used to love him. He was my first love, and although we are apart, we are together in my memory of 7 years of loving him, and we are together in my heart. It started when I was in 3rd year high school. At first he introduced himself to me. I was amazed because he knew a lot about me, and that's all started for being his friend. I never knew that I'm going to fall in love with him, because I used to tease him to my other girlfriend. He followed my advice to court other girls, but then suddenly he stopped courting her, which I really don't know what's the reason. After that incident he usually don't talk to me that he used to before, and I felt so lonely and realizing that I'm missing him so much. I tried to hide it. Since then we always have a fight for nothing. My other friends used to tell me what's going on with me and my best friend because we look like a cats and dogs in the classroom. But I started to realize that my feeling for him was getting into deep. I never told him. For so many years until we graduate from high school I never had a courage to tell him. We both went through into lots of relationship but still in my heart asking for him to love me too. He still calls me and tells me what's going on with his life but I couldn't tell him how much I love him. Until one day I found a strength to tell him that I love him since when we are in high school. It's happened on his 21st birthday. I was going to say him personally but I changed my mind. I wanted to scream loudly and say, I love you, in front of all the people, but I can't do that. I just write it in a card and tell him everything. After that I try to go away from him because I know he'll never forgive me. Now I'm here in the US. I don't know what happened to him. I just heard from a friend of mine that he's married now. But the confusing thing about it is he's calling me at home and not telling his name, but I know that was him. I don't know what to do about it. I don't know what he wants from me now. I am also got married with a guy over here. He calls me regularly. We recall our college days, fun we had together, and all the other things. I always search my best friend in my husband but cannot find him like my best friend. I love him too much. But I don't know why our love didn't success, even though we both loved each other and still love. I wish one day it might become successful and we would be together. A boy and girl loved each other very much. One day boy proposed girl. Girl asked, "What am I to you?" Boy thought for a moment and then looked into her eyes and said, "You are missing part of my heart." Girl smiled and accepted his proposal. Soon they both got married and lived a happy life for a while. With time, young couple began to drift apart because of their busy schedule. Due to daily worries and work, their life became difficult. With each passing day, couples started to have quarrels, and with this their relation got affected badly. With time it became worse. One day after fight, girl ran out of the house and shouted to her husband, "You don't love me." Boy hated her silliness and out of impulse said, "May it was a mistake. You were never the missing part of my life." Suddenly girl turned quiet and she knew spoken words can't be taken back. With tears in her eyes she went home, packed her things and before leaving him left a note for him. Note said, "Maybe I was never missing part of your life. Let me go and search for some who is. Let's go our separate ways. This way it would be less painful." 5 years passed. Boy never married again, but he used to keep information about girl somehow. He knew that she had left country and was living her dreams. He used to regret about what happened but never went to girl and tried to patch up. He never wanted to accept the fact that he missed her and still missing her in his life. One day at the airport while he was going away on business trip he saw her. She was standing alone just few steps away. She saw him and smiled at him gently. Boy asked, "How are you?" Girl replied, "I am fine. How about you? Did you find love of your life?" Boy answered, "No." Girl said, "I will be flying in next flight." Boy said, "I will be back in 2 weeks. Give me a call then." Girl smiled and waved goodbye to him. Same evening boy heard of plane crash. Same plane on which girl went. Boy tried to find about her and he got to know that she was dead. Once again like before he felt pain of missing her. He finally knew that she was the missing part that he had broken carelessly and now she was gone forever. Moral: sometimes people say things out of anger but we should not act in impulse and try to think wisely and give time because a moment of anger could result in lifetime of punishment. A couple had been married for 10 years but they didn't had any child. They stayed with each other and really hoped that they will have a child before their 11th anniversary. Their family and friends were pursuing them to get a divorce but they didn't wanted to get separated because of strong love between them. Months passed. One day while husband was returning home from work, he saw his wife walking down street with a man. They were looking very happy. After a week again husband saw his wife with same man again. Husband saw them many times roaming places with each other, hugging each other. One evening while husband was returning home, he saw that man dropped her off with a goodbye kiss on her cheek. Husband got angry and sad. After a hectic day at work, husband was home. While he was holding a glass jug to get water, phone rang. He received the call. As soon as he picked the call, voice came from other side saying, "Hello dear. I will be coming to your home this evening to see you as I promise, I hope." Husband hung up call before hearing any further. Husband thought to himself, it was male voice and I am sure it's same person I have seen with my wife many times. He thought he had lost his wife to another man and thinking that glass jug fell from his hand and shattered into pieces. Listening to noise, his wife came running to him and asked, "Is everything okay?" In anger he pushed his wife. She fell and wasn't moving. Few seconds later husband realized that she fell on the broken jug pieces and a large piece has pierced her. Husband tried to feel her breath, heartbeat, but there wasn't any. His wife was dead. He saw an envelope in her hand. He took it and read it. He was shocked by what was written in it. It reads, "My loving husband, words can't express how I feel so. I had to write down this letter. I have been seeing a doctor for over a week and I wanted to be sure before giving you the big news. Doctor have confirmed that I am pregnant. Our baby is due 5 months from now. Doctor I have been seeing is my long-lost brother whom I contacted after our marriage. He promised me to take care of me and baby and will give us best care without any fee. He promised to have dinner with us tonight. I had to write to you because I am so happy. Thanks for staying by my side. Your loving wife. Letter fell from his hands. At same time he heard knock on the door. It was same man he had seen with his wife. He came in and said, "Hello, I am John, your wife's brother." Suddenly he noticed his sister lying in pool of her blood. He rushed her to hospital where she was confirmed dead. Moral: we should not be quick to judge other person. In relationships we should try to talk and clear things. We should not let our anger control us because not everything we see or hear is true. On a hot summer day, a little boy and his mother were inside a lake house. Little boy decided to go for a swim in lake behind his house. Boy was really excited to go into lake and swim in cool lake, so he just ran out. Boy went into lake and swam far without realizing that he swam right into middle of that lake. Boy's mother looked out of window and saw an alligator approaching toward his son. As she saw both of them getting closer to each other, she ran toward little boy and yelled as loud as she could. She shouted about alligator approaching him and asked him to swim back toward house. Hearing voice of his mother, boy got alarmed and made U-turn to swim towards his mother, but it was too late. Just as mother reached her little boy and grabbed his arm, at same moment alligator snatched on his legs. That began a tug-war between two. Alligator was too strong but mother was too passionate to let her son go. At same time, a farmer happened to pass by and heard scream of little boy and his mother. Farmer raced toward lake and took his aim at alligator and shot him. Remarkable. After getting treated for weeks in hospital, boy survived. A newspaper reporter came to interview boy after incident and asked him about the incident. Boy lifted his pants from legs which was extremely scarred by the vicious attack of animal. But then, with pride he said to reporters, "Look at my arms. I have great scars on my arms too." Newspaper reporter: "Why these scars are great?" Boy replied, "I have these scars on arm because my mom wouldn't let go." Moral: similarly in our life we have scars from painful past. Sometimes, we foolishly made into difficult situations and we forget that enemy is waiting. That's when tug of war begin between life and God. That's why some wounds we have because God wouldn't let go. We should be very grateful to God for being there with us.